There were some surprising results tonight. The last game of the night, that was a thrilling ending, and we had some thrillers along the way. So, with 8 games today, and I have to do the preview tonight, I apologize for the fact it's going to go up late. There's 14 games, 2 of them are matinee games, so I'm going to get all the boards set up, plow through it, get the 14 game preview for tomorrow done tonight. That way I don't have to get up at like 6 in the morning tomorrow and do it then. And it's not going to happen. If I have to get up at 6 in the morning, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. All right, let's go ahead and get things started with Philly and the Devils. And boy, howdy. Were these teams pretty evenly matched tonight or what? I thought they were. I thought it was a pretty evenly matched game. These are two teams that really didn't want to lose tonight, and they kind of sort of didn't. I say kind of sort of because, of course, shootouts I qualify as like a tie, basically. First period, Simmons scored from Hughes and Palmieri. That's on the power play at 6:24. And, interestingly enough, that's Wayne Simmons' first goal as a member of the New Jersey Devils, and it comes against his former team. Lindblom then scored from Couturier and Konechny at 10:39, so the Flyers got it back. And then they went on the attack right after that goal. So, sensing they had the tie and maybe there was some vulnerability with the Devils, they jumped on it. And rightfully so. With the Devils, we've seen this year plenty of vulnerability. Things got kind of fighty after Niskanen hit Hughes. It was a clean hit, but boy, did Jack Hughes go down like a ton of bricks. It sort of reminded me of last year, some of the hits that Pettersson was taking. When you're slight of build at the NHL level, it can be kind of easy for a guy like Niskanen to bowl you over. And after that, things get kind of snippy. Palmieri ended up being thrown out. He got the instigator. So Philly gets a power play out of that. They didn't score on it, but the Devils kind of sent a message here of, all right, you're going to run our player. We're not going to take that. And it's important to have that message out there, even though, they did end up taking a penalty because of the instigator rule. With 1:01 left in the first period, Blackwood stopped JVR. JVR had a really good opportunity, and he's denied. Second period, the Devils got a power play. Shortly before they got that power play, Louis Domingue was traded to the New Jersey Devils. That trade was announced. I didn't do a video on it because the interesting thing is, so there's a conditional draft pick going back to Tampa, a conditional 7th rounder for next year. I'm wondering if there's something else coming with the Devils. So I'm going to do a news of the day video, probably find some time to sandwich it in tomorrow between the matinee games and the later games. And we'll see. We'll see if something happens between now and then with the New Jersey Devils to make room for Louis Domingue on the roster. Or if he's just going to stay in the American League, and if it's Ray Shiro's way of telling these guys, if I don't see some really good goaltending numbers, I've got a guy in the AHL who can come up and perform. Hart stopped Subban. A point shot from PK Subban. Really nice save for Carter Hart. I thought this was a good game for both goaltenders, to be honest. There was a Flyers goal that was reviewed for interference. It counted. That didn't make everybody happy. Couturier gets that one from Konechny at 7:26, and the Flyers go to the power play. Ever since I said coaches aren't really doing the whole challenge thing because the whole power play bit, they've started. And I think they've started because the games feel like they're more important. And at key points in the game, they're like, yep, we'll go ahead. We'll kill a penalty if we have to. And tonight, it's been kind of iffy. The Devils pushed shorthanded, however, and Carter Hart kind of saved the day there before Vatanen scores from Hischier and Hall at 14:28. And shortly after that, the Flyers get another power play. They would not score on their power play tonight, but they had their opportunities. Third period, right off the hop, Blackwood robbed Konechny. Travis Konechny's off to the best start of his career, and it kind of continued tonight. He did get on the board with the 2 helpers. Yes, 2 helpers tonight. Hall then got a power play goal from Green and Zajac at 9:58. So a New Jersey power play that has been anemic all year seems to be coming to life. But less than 2 minutes later, Farabee scores his first NHL goal from Michael Raffl, 11:29, and the Flyers tie it. So for Devils fans, this is one of those, really? It looked like maybe we could win this one. The Devils got a power play with 6 minutes and 37 seconds left. They were unable to score on it. And Carter Hart was making some really key saves late in the game. There was one save really late that was very key for them. So they go to overtime, and the first thing I noticed was that the Flyers were fumbling the puck a lot in the overtime to start out. Makes you kind of nervous when you see defensemen and forwards out there just kind of fumbling the puck. And there's two things that'll cause that. One is just, it's one of those things where a player sometimes fumbles the puck, or it's bad ice. So in this case, I couldn't tell whether it was the ice or whether it was the play, but either way, the puck was bouncing around. Farabee had a goal that was waved off as a kick. And it was a kick. There wasn't really much question, and when the referee comes in waving it off, Farabee didn't argue very much. There was a 2-on-1 for the Flyers that missed, and then the Flyers had a very last-second shot that was denied. So at the end of it, Blackwood comes up pretty big. We go to a shootout. Only one guy scores during the shootout, and that's Sean Couturier. That's your winner. The Flyers go in and beat the New Jersey Devils in a shootout, 4-3. The Devils don't get any luck. This was a pretty good game for them. They just didn't end up winning it. Pretty good game for the Flyers as well. Shots were 10-6 Flyers in the first, 9-7 Flyers in the second, 11-8 for the Devils in the third, and then 4-2 in favor of the Flyers in the overtime. Your final shots: 31 for Philadelphia, 26 for New Jersey. New Jersey goes 2 for 4 on the power play. Philadelphia goes 0 for 3. Carter Hart saved 23 out of 26. Blackwood saved 28 out of 31. And that was a fun game. Moving along. Now, Adam, you're happy. And I know you tagged me on Discord about it, that you're happy. And I get it. Because tonight, the Washington Capitals kind of sent a message to Buffalo. I will say this. Buffalo did not pull their goaltender. So Carter Hutton's definitely playing tomorrow night. They just left him out there. And he got better as the game went along. Not that I'm going to say that it was the goaltender that caused this game to get away from them. The Sabres got an early power play. They did not score on it. The Sabres power play continues to somewhat struggle. It has somewhat struggled since the really hot start they got off to. Jacob Vrana scores from Wilson at 6 minutes and 17 seconds. And then shortly thereafter, 42 seconds later, was a 4-on-1 by the Capitals. Just a complete breakdown by Buffalo. You can't allow a 4-on-1. Stevenson finishes it off from Boyd and Leipzig at 6:59. So not only was it a 4-on-1, but it was the fourth line that did it. The Sabres did their best to try to push back and answer, but Vrana scores from Kempny and Wilson at 9:29. And that's 3 goals on 5 shots, boys and girls. And it's at this point I thought, so do you pull Ullmark? They didn't. A minute and a half, not even a minute and a half later, Leipzig scored from Boyd and Gudas at 10:44. That's 4 goals on 7 shots. They still didn't pull Ullmark. But from there on, Ullmark played all right. So after allowing 4 goals on 6 shots, his save percentage after those 4 goals was above .900. It's about finding the silver lining. Now, Ullmark stayed in the game, as I said. Eichel then had a break that was denied by Holtby. And the Sabres actually had more shots through most of this game. And it felt kind of weird. Because the Sabres had some good chances, just Holtby wasn't allowing anything. And at the other end, every time the Capitals got a good chance, it went in the net. Second period, I put up here Holtby is in midseason form, and he definitely seems to be. We're looking at a Braden Holtby that's playing very, very well. Ullmark then stopped Hathaway. Hathaway had a good opportunity, and Hathaway is doing a very good job with Washington of agitating. Very good agitator. Wilson then scored from Kempny at... Yoki Haru scored from Dahlin to ruin the shutout at 10 minutes and 40 seconds of the second period. And that one bounced off Siegenthaler. That's the interesting part of that, is that Yoki Haru takes the shot from the point, and it bounced off the back of Siegenthaler and into the net. So it was a weird-looking bounce in real time. I'm like, wait, what happened with that? And you can't really blame Holtby on that. It's just one of those things that happens. Kuznetsov then had a break. He lost control, but they didn't let the puck clear. They didn't let the puck out of the zone, and Wilson would score from Konechny at 16:53. So even though Kuznetsov, it's a broken play for him, Wilson ends up putting it away, and that made it 5-1. So we're going into the third period 5-1, and the Caps stayed back a lot in that third period, and yet Buffalo wasn't getting a ton of opportunities. So Washington played really well. They played that third period the way you want them to. The Sabres got a power play mid-period. It just felt like, they're down 5-1, that the heart was kind of gone out of it, and they're already looking forward to tomorrow night's game. Oshie then scored from Ovechkin and Kempny at 13:43. Made it 6-1, and that's your final score. Your 3 stars are Jacob Vrana, Tom Wilson, and Brendan Leipzig. Olmark did save 28 out of 34. Keep in mind, he allowed 4 on the first 7, so it got better. Holtby saved 29 out of 30. Power plays, Buffalo goes 0 for 2. Washington 0 for 1. The shots were 16-11 Buffalo in the first period, and they came out 4-0. I don't know how you come out down 4-0 when you outshoot a team 16-11, but that's not the weirdest thing that happened tonight. 9-8 were the shots in the second for Buffalo, and in the third, the shots were 15-5 in favor of the Capitals. Their final shots were 34-30 for Buffalo. So by the end of the game, they had more shots, but how they got there was kind of weird. Moving along, Tampa. All right, now let's be honest here. Tampa Bay now goes into the break. They're going to Stockholm. And if you're not worried about the Tampa Bay Lightning as a fan, you should be. This continues the mediocrity. It's almost like after winning that Boston game that they kind of felt like they won everything and all right, we're good. And they went back to some bad habits. And yet, let us not detract from what the Islanders have done. They have won 8 in a row. The question now for Islanders fans is the team peaking too early? See how that works? That's the glass half full, glass half empty thing right there. Are they peaking too early? Now in the first, the Islanders got a power play. They had early puck control in this game. They were ahead in shots. Tampa Bay had 3 shots in the first 13 minutes. They only ended up with 5 in the first period. This was a very Islanders game in the first. But in the second, it turned into a Tampa Bay game, and it's sort of like the Islanders went, oh, you want to play the loose and free, lots of shots game? We can do that too. The Bolts took the lead in shots, and it didn't matter. Barzal scored from Leddy at 4 minutes and 58 seconds to make it 1-0. Tampa Bay then got a power play. They wouldn't score on it, but shortly thereafter, Yanni Gourde scores from Shattenkirk at 7:49, so that tied it up. But the Islanders would not be denied tonight. It's Pulock from Brassard and Beauvillier at 11:33. Shortly thereafter, the Islanders got a power play, and they're up 2-1 after 2. And I was thinking, that's it. The one team that doesn't make me nervous with a lead is the Islanders. We've seen so many leads. They've been talking about how multi-goal comebacks were on a record pace for multi-goal comebacks in a season, all-time NHL record. But the Islanders don't play that game. The Islanders, for the most part, if they have a lead, and especially with the way they're playing right now, they're gonna take it home. The third period, the Bolts definitely pushed. The Islanders were sitting on the lead, and I can't criticize other teams and not say that's a dangerous game to play, especially against Tampa. The Bolts got a power play, didn't score. In fact, they were up in shots tremendously, like 9-2 at the point where Lee gets that second shot of the period that Vasilevsky denied him. And Anders Lee was really close to a goal there. Bailey then scored from Barzal and Lee at 12:41. The Bolts challenged the 4-1 goal because that's what happens tonight. Lee scored from Boychuk at 14:27. It counts and the Islanders get a power play. It's just that night where, we're going to challenge it. Nope, we're going to challenge everything. Everything's getting challenged. Shannon said we don't challenge. We're going to start challenging. Leddy almost scored on the power play. The Tampa Bay Lightning pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left. Well, with the amount of talent you have, you can score with the goalie pulled, and they did. Palat scored from McDonough and Stamkos. At least that's how I saw it. The way that the official goal was at the time that I was watching the game, they gave it to McDonough from Stamkos and Palat. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's 4-2. That's why it's double underlined as Palat at 18:03. If they eventually gave it to Palat, great. If Palat didn't touch it, not a big deal either. So that made it 4-2. And then, of course, the empty netter. Brassard scores from Lee and Bailey at 19:24. No doubt about who scored that one. Derek Brassard continues what's been a kind of a nice comeback story with the Islanders, sort of like what Filppula was for them last year. I don't know, Lou just finds these guys and makes it work. Your 3 stars, Lee, Barzal, and Greiss, all of them Islanders. Vasilevsky saved 21 out of 25. Greiss saved 33 out of 35. Shots were 5 apiece in the first period. 16-13 Tampa in the second. 14-8 for Tampa in the third. Final shots, 35-26 for the Lightning. Both teams went 0 for 3 on the power play. Again, if you're a Tampa fan and you're like, nah, I'm not concerned, they need to come out of Stockholm with at least a win. If they go overseas and they lose both those games, boy, I tell you. And yes, they'll get Hedman back for the next game. They should be healthy. You can't underscore just how much not having Hedman in the lineup makes a difference, but just in general, there just seems to be a malaise right now about the Tampa Bay Lightning. Maybe they don't want to be stressed about the whole 62 wins thing, so they want to make sure they lose 20 games as soon as possible so people won't talk to them about. I don't know. I'm reaching. I know I'm reaching. Detroit. The Red Wings in against Carolina. This game amused me, and I'm going to get to why it amused me. And it's not because I enjoy seeing Detroit lose. That's not a thing. It used to be. Years ago, yes. Now, not so much. The Wings got a very early power play, and the early play really did favor Detroit. There was 4-on-4 play at the 5-minute mark. Shortly after that, though, Svechnikov scored from Slavin and Hamilton at 7:15, and it was unfair. It was unfair because it was a botched play. That puck was not supposed to go to Svechnikov. Andrei Svechnikov's kind of like, hey, look what I found, and puts it in the net. And, honestly, Howard was in position to make the play on the shot they were going for, but on the broken play, he wasn't. So because the pass was missed, Svechnikov scores, and this is the luck of the Detroit Red Wings right now. Mrazek was solid when he was challenged. Trevor Van Riemsdyk then took a shot. It looked like it hit him on the wrist. He made an exit from the game. He did come back later, though. And it was kind of a wide open period with very few whistles, which I thought was good for Detroit, to be honest. Mantha then scored from Athanasiou and Hicketts at 16:52. Carolina got a late power play in that period, but it's 1-1 after 1. And if you're Detroit, you'll take that. And they outshot him barely, but they outshot him in that first period. And you kind of feel pretty good about yourself if you're Detroit coming out of that first period. And then the second was a show all by itself. There was an Aho goal that was challenged for interference, and it counted. Aho scored from Foegele and Slavin at 27 seconds. So there was question about whether or not it was interference, and the announcers weren't very happy that it counted, but they understood. Then a minute and 20 seconds later, Nino Niederreiter scored from Aho and Gardner. Now what happened is the whistle went. After the whistle went, the puck passed through the goalie's pads and into the net. So Howard never had it. Now, Mickey Redmond is an old school hockey player, an old school hockey fan. And to him, as soon as that whistle blows, the play is dead. So the fact that the puck went into the net after the whistle meant to him that play was dead. So, and keep in mind, this is right after they challenged a goal for interference and it wasn't taken back. So he's already kind of a little bit perturbed. So they counted it, and it was a good goal, and I got it. I understood why it was a good goal. That it was a continuation goal, and this has been controversial in the NHL for a couple years now. You know, that continuation. Yes, the puck was in the process of going in the net when I blew the whistle, and even though the puck went in after the whistle went, it's a good goal. Not to Mickey, it wasn't. And he started talking about, why do we have referees? Why doesn't Toronto just call the game? These guys are just skating around in striped shirts, and they shouldn't be out here, and this is just ridiculous, and that shouldn't have been. And he was gone. And I feel for the play-by-play announcer for Fox Detroit, who said, you know, basically to the point of, well, you know, it's November now, and Mickey's lost it. We kept it together through October. It's November. And I understood why he was upset, and I kind of felt bad for him. So Mantha then scores from Athanasiou and Filppula at 8:02. Coming back to Mickey Redmond, again, he might be my favorite color guy. Now that Denny Potvin is gone, now that Florida's Denny Potvin is retired, Mickey Redmond might be my favorite color guy in the NHL. Period. He starts gushing about how now that they've got this goal, it's close. They can do this. They can do this. They can get close. So Mantha scores from Athanasiou and Filppula, and he's like, all right, we can do this. This is going to be great. So 8:02 they score. We're only one goal behind. As he's saying it, Netjes scores from Dzingel and Van Riemsdyk at 8:28, and you can hear his heartbreak with that fourth goal. And again, I love the passion. And when people talk about, oh, I can't stand biased announcers, they're the best announcers. They really are. The guys who are wearing their heart on their sleeve are the best announcers. I don't understand. I can understand when it's a nationwide sort of thing. So when you can hear Pierre Maguire on a nationwide broadcast clearly cheering for a team, that I understand being offside. But when it is a regional broadcast meant for home fans of a certain team, and this is for Detroit fans, it's great. So I love Mickey Redmond, and when I have a choice between the Detroit feed or Carolina's, I will take Detroit's, even though Carolina's announcers are excellent as well. So yeah, I put after the Netjes goal. I love Mickey Redmond. Love it. And then Aho scored from Hamilton and Svechnikov at 11:03. Howard's out, Bernier's in, and Mickey Redmond's waxing philosophical about hockey and life, and it was great. Then Bertuzzi scored from Larkin and Nemeth at 16:12. The Canes got a late power play. This game, though, was already over. So going into the third period, McGinn scored from Hamilton at 1:49, so just that punch, that last punch, they have to get it. They get a shorthanded goal. The Wings pulled the goalie with 4+ minutes left, and bless their hearts for thinking, yeah, we'll give it a shot. We're only down by 3. Again, great game. Teravainen scored from Slavin at 16:38. Your final score is 7-3. I know how lopsided the game looks. It was just a lot of fun to watch. And not because Carolina won, it was fun to watch because the announcing was great, and every turn in this game felt almost cinema-like. Your 3 stars are Aho, Hamilton, and Svechnikov. Toronto did not make the 3 stars in this game. There were a lot of disputed calls on whether this one's a good goal and that one's a good goal, and yeah. Howard, 16 saves on 21 shots. Bernier, 11 out of 12. And no, I'm not even counting everything that happened in this game because I was worried about running out of room on the board once we get down to here. So I was like, this game's crazy. I'm going to stop writing down every controversial thing that happens. So yes, there were other controversies in this game. Mrazek saved 29 out of 32. He was solid when he had to be, and he continues that great winning streak he has in Carolina. Power plays, Detroit went 1 for 5. Carolina went 1 for 3. Your shots, 10-9 Detroit in the first, 19-13 Carolina in the second, 9-6 Detroit in the third. Final shots, 34-32 for Carolina. I could not love a game more than this. And Mickey Redmond, just fantastic. If you have a chance to see a Detroit feed of a game, I'm telling you, it's absolutely worth it for him. All right, that being said, I'm going to change boards. Well, it was a scare for St. Louis tonight, and they survived it. Now, for Columbus, this is a lost opportunity. And it's a reminder these guys used to be division rivals, St. Louis and Columbus. Columbus got a quick start. They had the first 6 shots in the game. They pounced on St. Louis really quickly. Anderson got a breakaway. Josh Anderson gets a breakaway. Just missed. Columbus, though, gets a too many men on the ice penalty, which didn't end up resulting in a goal, but St. Louis would end up having some power plays that were successful tonight. Thomas gets a goal from Bozak and Sanford at 14:05. However, a really important feeling goal was Dubois from Nyquist at 19:55. So there's that last minute of the period, last 5 seconds of the period goal. And it's 1-1. Then to start the second, Sonny Milano scores from Harrington and Savard at 5:41. And to this stage of the game, Columbus, yeah, they were a pretty darn good team. They were playing a really, really solid road game. Pietrangelo then had a really, it was a scary looking giveaway, put it that way. Pietrangelo, who is one of the better defensemen in the league, it was a bad looking giveaway. Didn't end up going in the back of the net thanks to Binnington. The Blues seemed to be kind of scrambly after that goal. Then at 10 minutes and 36 seconds, Bjorkstrand scores from Dubois and Wenberg. So Wenberg continues his decent scoring pace, considering last season was a write-off for him. However, Braden Shen continues his hot start with a goal from Perron and Schwartz at 12:07, and then 26 seconds later, Sundqvist from Barbashev and McEachern. So at 12:33, it's tie game. Columbus gets a power play. That one didn't go anywhere. Third period, it was really an evenly played third period. Right off the hop, I thought, it feels like they're both playing to get to overtime. And that wouldn't really surprise me too much with Columbus. They seem to like playing in overtime. Merzlikins, I thought, had his best game for Columbus tonight that he's played thus far, not including the 19 saves on 19 shots in relief the other night. But this was a really good game from start to finish by him, even though the numbers won't necessarily show it. And then the refs seem to be letting everything go. And the weird thing is they seem to be letting everything go until they called a penalty on Columbus with 2 minutes left. Less than 2 minutes, 1:52 left, actually. And, I thought, gee, that seems kind of weird. But that wouldn't be the last time tonight that there was a penalty call late that I thought was kind of weird. In overtime, 8 seconds. So right after that power play was expiring, Perron scores from Pietrangelo and O'Reilly. 8 seconds into overtime. So, St. Louis goes 2 for 4 on the power play. Columbus goes 1 for 3. St. Louis wins the game in overtime 4-2, or 4-3 in overtime 4-2. That's great. I must be tired. Merzlikins, 23 saves on 27 shots. Binnington, 27 saves on 30 shots. Your 3 stars, Perron, Sundqvist, and Dubois. Shots, well, that favored Columbus for most of the game. 11-8 in the first, 11-9 in the second before St. Louis outshot them 9-8 in the third. And then they got the one shot, the shot that matters in overtime. Final shots, 30-27 in favor of Columbus. So, good road game. They come out with a point. They're probably kicking themselves a little bit for not getting 2. And there's no rest for the wicked or the weary because there are 28 teams playing tomorrow. So for most of the teams that played tonight, they get to play again tomorrow. All right, moving along. Dallas. Tonight made me a believer. Now, I'm a believer by the skin of my teeth. Like, I understand that Dallas has started winning games. I'm not a huge fan of how. They mentioned during tonight's game that last year they won the most games in the NHL where they only scored 2 goals. We wanted more offense this year. It doesn't look like we're going to get it. The Stars, however, were up to 6-2 in shots at 6 minutes. And right away I'm putting up on the board low-scoring game with a question mark because, you could just tell. I don't know what it is with Dallas games. You can just tell it's going to be a low-scoring game. The Minnesota game aside, that was just 2 struggling teams and then a bunch of goals went in. Hintz scored from Gurianov and Pavelski at 18:06. Rope Hintz's fast start is now officially a really good season that he's having. Hudobin, really, really nice glove save at 19 minutes and 57 seconds to rob the Colorado Avalanche of a tie after the first. So it's 1-0 Dallas after 1. Second period, the Stars were blocking shots. That is key for them, blocking a bunch of shots, although they didn't block enough because Hudobin was very busy tonight. The Avs then went to the power play, and while the Avalanche were on the power play, something strange happened. Rope Hintz scored a shorthanded goal from Janmark at 5:39. So Rope Hintz gets both goals for Dallas tonight, and he continues his hot streak. Now, not on the board tonight was Radulov. I thought Radulov had a pretty good game, and if he keeps playing like that, he will get some points. Then there was a quick break that almost made it 3-0 for the Dallas Stars. So I started at that point saying, all right, if they can get a third, I'm confident the way Hudobin's playing tonight. And I had to put on the board as well, Pavelski's playing much better. Pavelski's starting to look very comfortable with Dallas. He is starting to get acclimated to his line mates and to the whole thing. And Corey Perry, honestly, he's not on the board either, but he was notable because of his physicality and his ability to get under the other team's skin, which is what he's known for. The Avs got a power play after a Kadri goal got called back. The net was knocked off, but there was a penalty on the play. So I thought the goal would count. Even though the net was off the mooring, I thought, because the puck would have gone in the net anyways, that it was going to count. I thought, but I'm just thinking of road hockey rules. That doesn't matter. You knocked the net. That was going to go in anyways. We're counting that. I've had that argument. That argument has been had by anybody who's played street hockey or floor hockey. No, you knocked that. That goal counts. You did that. So that didn't happen. However, they scored on the power play. McKinnon scores from Makar and Kadri at 9:54. McKinnon continues his insane start to the season, and it's a power play marker for him. The Stars got a power play late. We know what happens when the Stars get a power play. Yeah, it doesn't score. And then there was a Grubauer Corey Perry scrum, and it was because Perry knocked the stick out of the hands of Grubauer, kind of ran him over. And this is the kind of thing that makes people not like Corey Perry. Now, for people who might be expecting, well, now that he's with Dallas, you like him. No, I'm not a huge fan of some of that stuff. I'm not, so it hasn't really affected my opinion of him one way or the other. The Avs then went to the power play shortly thereafter, and in the third period, the question I had was, can they hold it? I was nervous that Colorado might get a power play and they might take advantage. I was nervous that McKinnon was going to do it all by himself, put the team on his back and say, all right, I'm going to do this. There was a tight checking third period, though, which I thought was a very good period for Dallas. And I thought this was Hudobin's best game of the season. He's seeing the puck very well, and his positioning's fantastic. And yeah, he's overcome that slow start. His save percentage coming out of tonight's game now is going to be excellent. There was a near goal for Nichushkin, and I'm telling you, when Nichushkin was in around the net and he almost scored, I was like, I knew it. I knew it. If he puts that puck in the net, I'm going to be so angry. He didn't have a goal all season last year for Dallas, and I thought to myself, he's going to score against Dallas because they didn't re-sign him, and he's going to prove a point by scoring against them. That's where we're going to end up. He didn't, but it was close. The goalie got pulled with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. The Avalanche took a timeout with 58 seconds left. There were some tense moments late. They ran out the clock. Dallas ran out the clock. And there were a bunch of intentional icings. There was a moment I noticed where Hudobin called Lindell after one of the icings. And you could kind of tell he was telling him, yeah, good, do it again. And he did. Lindell got the puck and he did it again. Now, for people who don't understand, well, why would you want to keep icing it? Well, you can't get a line change after an icing. But if you ice it, play 5 seconds, ice it again, well, now you guys are more rested and you're not quite as tired. So I thought it was smart. They ended up icing it, I think, 3 times in that last minute. It is risky, but it worked out. Hudobin saved 38 out of 39. Grubauer saved 27 out of 29. Your 3 stars, Rope Hintz, Nathan McKinnon, because his streak continues, and Anton Hudobin, who was fantastic. Dallas goes 0 for 2 on the power play because, of course, they did. And Colorado goes 1 for 5 on theirs. Shots were 13-11 for Dallas in the first. In the second, it was 17-8 for Colorado. And in the third, it was 11-8 for Colorado. Final shots, 39-29 for the Avs. And happy win for Dallas tonight. Like I said, they kind of make me a believer, but I don't like winning games like this. But they beat Colorado. I understand who Colorado was without. I'm not foolish. I know that they were missing Rantanen, they're missing Landeskog, and that's huge. But still, for Dallas to go in and win a game in Denver, I'll take it. Next up, Vancouver in against these guys, Anaheim. John Gibson would be my pick right now for the Vezina. He would. Honorable mention to guys like Carter Hutton and numerous other goaltenders, but if I was given a vote and I could pick right now, it goes to John Gibson. And this is why Anaheim legit scares me. They are now 6-1 on home ice. I don't know how many of those games Gibson's stolen, but tonight's not the only one. The shots were 7-0 for Vancouver 3 minutes and 6 seconds into this game. Anaheim wasn't there in the first period. And then Raquel almost got one. So when Anaheim got those breaks, they were dangerous. The Canucks were first to the puck for most of that first 10 minutes. They were fast. They seemed to be the better team. They got a power play, but during that power play, Jacob Silfverberg scores from Raquel and Holzer at 13:28. That's a shorthanded goal. And you could sense as this game went along that Vancouver was a little bit tight out there. Hughes then got injured, and I put up on the board, hope it's minor. If Quinn Hughes is injured for the Canucks, that is a huge blow to that blue line. He has been so solid in a top 4 role. He has played like a veteran, not a rookie, And honestly, between him and Cale Makar, I think it's a nice race to see who the best defenseman in the rookie year is. And here's to hoping he's not out for very long. I don't see him playing tomorrow night. Gibson stole that first period. Absolutely, it was Gibson's first period all over. He stole it. Second period, Gibson really remained a wall early on. Besser then headed to the dressing room. He seemed to get shaken up. It was the first of 2 times he got shaken up tonight. So that made me nervous, where I'm like, oh, not Brock, not again. Brock can't get hurt again. And Hughes, they announced at that point, was out with a lower body injury, and so we'll see what's going on. He twisted his ankle, so it's an ankle injury, and apparently it doesn't seem to be very major. We'll see. The Ducks got a power play. Besser returned shortly around that time. The Canucks then got a power play. Both teams struggled with their power play. Vancouver couldn't set theirs up. Markstrom then robbed Henrique, and the Ducks were getting better as the game went along. So it kind of felt like the Rangers game, except the Canucks didn't have the lead in this one. Third period, Markstrom denied Raquel, so that's not the first time that he denied Raquel in this game. Raquel might have nightmares about him tonight. The Canucks got a penalty on that play. So yes, Raquel was denied, but they ended up getting a penalty. And that was right around where they said the Hughes injury doesn't look like it's going to be serious. So good. The Canucks got a power play. Then Besser took a penalty. Besser's penalty seemed kind of weak, but there were weak penalties for both teams, to be honest. Some games were called kind of footloose and fancy free, and others were called not that way at all. Where it's like, what did I do? I don't know, go to the box. I'll figure it out when you get in there. To me, it looked like Gibson was going to get the shutout, because I didn't see any weakness in his game. None. The Canucks had 1 shot in the first 8 minutes as well, so that wasn't really inspiring confidence in me that Vancouver was going to break through that wall. And then Gibson denied Brock Besser in close twice, which again fed the whole narrative to me of, well, Gibson's going to get a shutout. The Canucks got a power play. Put up here at the start of the power play, just say no. The Canucks power play tonight was a disaster. And it's funny because I kept hearing them say, but remember the last game they were 4 for 6. Yeah, they were 4 for 6 against LA. LA's penalty killing kind of sucks. It is the worst penalty kill in the league, and Anaheim is not. Because Anaheim has Gibson, Kings don't have Gibson, and that is really a major difference between the two. Gaudette, however, got a goal, which they thought was going to be Sutter's, but they gave it to Gaudette. Now, whether or not they changed that to Sutter, I guess it didn't bounce off Sutter. It looked like it kind of did, though. But that's Gaudette's first, if it counts as his goal, at 13:42. And there was kind of a sigh of relief for me on that one, because the Canucks had really deserved at least a point tonight. And then they gave Markstrom a delay of game penalty with 3:03 left. And I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird not because Markstrom covered the puck for a whistle when he didn't have to, because he did. He didn't have to cover it. But I see goalies doing it all the time. I had even thought about mentioning in a couple of recent reviews, well, on this play, I guess they're not calling goalies for delay of game, for stopping the puck when they shouldn't. And they called it on Markstrom with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left, which to me was just crazy. You want the game decided 5-on-5. It wasn't. We go to overtime. And in the overtime, you really notice that Quinn Hughes isn't on the ice. They had Tanev out there, and it's like, oh, it's not the same. You got Besser and Pettersson and Tanev. And Tanev was fighting the puck tonight. He's not Quinn Hughes. And, yeah, that magic didn't work. And as soon as there was a home run pass to Getzlaf, I knew it was going in. Getzlaf scores from Terry and Gibson at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's right. The goaltender had an assist tonight, and he was hands down the first star. He saved 39 out of 40. Markstrom saved 27 out of 29. You had 3 stars. Gibson, Getzlaf, and Markstrom. Those are absolutely right. 3 stars. No argument there at all. Gibson was fantastic. Power plays, Vancouver was 0 for 5. A lot of the power plays, they didn't really get set up. And then Anaheim 0 for 4. And their power plays seemed a little more dangerous for the most part. And Markstrom was great. Shots were 19-5 Vancouver in the first, which was why it was kind of frustrating to see them down 1-0 when they'd outshot them so badly in the first. 14-13 Vancouver in the second, and then in the third, the Ducks outshot them 8-5, and they outshot them in overtime 3-2. Final shots 40-29 in favor of Vancouver, but the game definitely evened out after that very uneven first period. Now, as crazy as that was, crazier, San Jose and Winnipeg. The San Jose Sharks tonight played the best game they've played all year. Yep. Best game they've played all year. And they lost in regulation. How did we get there? Let's take a look. There was few shots for either team early on. And I'm serious. There were very few shots for both teams early on. And then San Jose started to break through. Hellebuck stopped Meyer. And after that, Timo Meyer, nice shot that he had. The Sharks seemed to figure out the defense for Winnipeg regularly. The Sharks had a lot of momentum at the halfway mark. However, Gabriel Bourque with a goal that was a snipe. The assist went to Connor at 13:34, and it was only the fifth shot for the Jets. So they're being outshot at this point, and they're up 1-0. Had to be frustrating for San Jose and encouraging for the Jets. The Jets got a late power play, which would continue into the second. It wouldn't be a fruitful power play for them. They only had 2 tonight. They didn't score on them. Second period, Goudreau scores from Brodzinski and Vlasic at 3 minutes and 18 seconds. So that tied it up. The Sharks then got a power play. Their power play wasn't able to click tonight either. The Jets got a good shorthanded chance, actually, on that power play. Kane then had a goal that was called back for goalie interference. LeBanc basically pushed Hellebuck's leg over the line, and Kane lost his mind. Evander Kane always stands out because he gets really angry. He's a very passionate hockey player, and that's going to lead to penalty minutes because he does tend to yell and scream at the officials a lot, and some officials don't like that. Wheeler then scored from Scheifele and Connor at 7:53. It was seconds after that disputed goal. And it felt like the Sharks were mad about that disputed goal, and the Jets took advantage, and they're up 2-1. They're up 2-1 in a game they have no business being up in. None. Jets fans, if you're going to deny that, are you? No, you're not going to? Okay, good. Kane then took a penalty. The Jets went to the power play, and again, Kane tried to dispute the penalty, was all upset about it, but it was clearly a penalty. They even went back and watched it on the replay on TSN. They're like, all right, well, let's see what he's so upset about. And they're like, no, that's a penalty. Yeah, no, he grabbed him and pulled him down. I don't know what he's upset about. The Sharks got a power play late, and the shot differential was almost 3-1. The ratio was almost 3-1 in favor of the Sharks throughout the first 2 periods. It was ridiculous. And that second period, they shot from everywhere. They shot everything they could at Hellebuck, and he held up. He did allow the 1 goal at 3:18, but my God, he was under fire. He was under siege. And then Little hit the post late in that period. And you got that feeling that it was going to be that kind of game where the Jets were just going to be pesky here. So it was 2-1 Jets going into the third. But 49 seconds into that third period, Hurdle scores from LeBanc and Kane. Or Kane and LeBanc. And you get the feeling like, okay, there's that momentum swing in favor of San Jose. They're way ahead on shots. Now they've got the goal. They've tied up the game. The Sharks had 40 shots early in that third period. They were already up to 40 shots. And Hellebuck was the only reason this game was tied. Only reason this game wasn't an absolute nightmare. LeBanc then hit the crossbar. And I had to put up here, this is the Sharks' best game, and it's Hellebuck's best game as well. The Sharks played like amazing tonight. And if you're watching the Canucks knowing they're going into San Jose tomorrow night, I'm telling you, this team is going to be mad. And they were mad tonight. They're going to be worse tomorrow. And they shot from everywhere, and they came up short. They had 80 shot attempts. Around the 15-minute mark of the third, they announced that they'd already reached 80 shot attempts. They're shooting from everywhere, and just they're a very ornery team right now. Ehlers then scored from Roslovic and Little with 1 minute and 24 seconds left. They were angry before this game. They're going to be really angry now. They lost this game 3-2. They allowed that goal with 1:24 left. While I was getting ready to write OT on the board, I was like, all right, this is going to go to overtime. Well, at least the Sharks will get a point out of this. At least the Jets will get a point out of this. Nope. The Jets win it in regulation. And this is one of those games where, for the Winnipeg Jets, this could be a huge boost to them. Game they really didn't have any business winning. Hellebuck saved 50 out of 52 shots. 50. Jones saved 16 out of 19. For people following along at home, that's a save percentage of .842. So, and again, it's either the defense in front of them, or you're looking for that save that's not quite there. 3 stars: Hellebuck, Connor, and Hurdle. And yeah, Hellebuck really should have been first, second, and third star in this game. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 2. Shots, 11-6 San Jose in the first. Then in the second, 28-9 in the third. 14-4. The Jets had 4 shots and they scored on 1 in the third period. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And I say that knowing that they also, had some very smart moments. That third goal, that was honestly a really pretty goal by Ehlers. That was a really nice goal. I had to rewind the live TV and watch it a second time. 53-19 were the shots in favor of... Oh, it was 53 shots, and Hellebuck saved 51 out of 53. Again, my app just hadn't updated at the time. So yeah, 51 saves for Hellebuck. Pretty good game. That's going to bring that save percentage up a little bit, isn't it? So there you go. You guys are all caught up with tonight's action. Like I said, I'm going to have to do tomorrow's as well. So apologies for posting really late. It's really early in Europe, though. So it's a way of how you look at it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just tapping upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.